everyone here is very aware that we're going through a time of change. Obvious. Let's just see with a question of show of hands. How many of you have noticed some of these things happening? Have any of you noticed the time is shifting, like it's speeding up or getting slower? Yeah? Have any of you noticed a change in your eyesight? Like all of a sudden you'll see things more clearly, or all of a sudden things will blur, or maybe you see something out of the corner of your eye, you look but it's not there? Any of you have that? Yeah? Any of you hearing sounds in your ears? Yeah, some of you. Are any of you like bumping into things? You didn't bump into things before, but now, whoa, you're getting clumsy. Yeah? Yeah, some of you are doing that. Have any of you felt that you just wanted to change things? You just, anything. You want to move, you want to go somewhere else, paint your house. Yeah? Have any of you felt like you could almost commit suicide? You wouldn't, but like a part of you is like just dying or just can't go on in the same way? Some of you. All of well, you could see many people have raised their hands to these. So we're not, number one, we're not alone. These are part of the shifts that are changing inside us that are already beginning. I'll give you my little spin on what's happening. Here's the Earth, and it's not by itself, it's moving through space. And as it moves through space, it comes to a place where other planets are touching it. And so this whole bit with 2012 is that astrologically, on December 21st, 2012, it's the end of many cycles. It's the end of a 26,000 year cycle. It's the end of the Mayan calendar. It's on that date, there's a huge lineup conjunction with the sun where Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto all come together. Neptune represents the highest potential. The Uranus represents the new, and what was the other one I said? Pluto represents change. So all of that comes together. What it means is that it's the possibility of tremendous transformation, individually and for everyone. And this time is so unusual that the ancients foresaw it. So the Mayans told about it. They called it the day of creation. And what they say is that it's the time when the Kundalini will rise and that we will remember all our past lives. So that's one reason why it's so wonderful for us to connect with reincarnation and to be familiar with it. Because if you didn't know about it, you might think you were going insane, but you have a framework to hold it on, then it makes more sense. The Mayans also say that on that day, the pyramids are going to be activated. And they call that the pyramids are all special computer chambers, and that on that day, the consciousness, all the pyramids will link over the planet, and that people will be, their consciousness will be elevated into solar consciousness. Wow. And then other groups, the Incas say that there'll be something coming from outer space that will touch the earth. The Aztecs say that it's the end of the cycle and it's the beginning of the new. The Maori in Australia, they say that it's a shifting where the veils will part and the dark and the light, everything will come together. The Native Americans have legends. The Hopi call it the day of emergence. They say after 25 period of tribulation that everything turns into the new, into the light. Even in the Vedas, they talk about this time as a whole 26,000 year period. And then before the new one begins, there's a space in between. And in that space in between is the time of the greatest potential. So, and then they also talk about coming into light. So there are the ancients have talked about it, and many people have had visions and dreams of it that didn't know about it. So there's all this energy about this particular time. Now, I feel that the world will not end then. It's going to go right on, but it will be this time where we have this potential to really raise into light, to shift our consciousness. So it's really wonderful to have this goal, to have all the pyramids everywhere, to meditate more. This is the most awesome time on the planet that there has ever been. This time is different than the other times also because of the sun. We're coming closer into the closest the Earth will have ever been to the galactic center. So this is causing effect on the sun. I've been recently, I was at a 2012 conference and performing at it in Los Angeles. I was with a group of scientists in Prague, and so I've heard what many, many people have to say. These scientists in Prague feel that there's, with all the activity of the sunspots on the Earth, that it's very possible that there'll be like a solar flare that will affect the Earth. Well, on the inner planes, from what I've heard is that the sun is like having ascension. So just like we know that we can have an ascension, the Earth is a schoolroom, and we've come here to learn lessons and to meditate, to become, and then connect with who we really are. And then when we've learned all these lessons with those beautiful visions that we saw from Dr. Newton, well, then we can go on, or we can come back as a bodhisattva. Well, the same thing happens to the planets. The same thing happens to the sun. So the sun is going through an ascension, and that touches the Earth. So the Earth is going through an ascension. So we're part of something that is much, much, much bigger. And we're a part of it. So it's wonderful to tune into the bigger picture. Also, there are other star systems that are touching the Earth right now. And this is one of the things that I have found so powerful and wonderful to work with. We're being touched by the energy of Sirius. And working with the stars is a subject that's just, I couldn't believe it when I got into it. I just loved it so much and began to work and put pieces together. And I thought this was so cutting edge, so wonderful, so new. And then the more I researched and found out about it, I found out that people were burned at the stake in the Middle Ages for bringing in the star energy. And they were just bringing back what they learned from Egypt, and then the Egyptians were just bringing back from Atlantis. So it's not new at all. It's very, very ancient. Connecting with the stars, working with the stars, bringing the star energies through us. So right now, the three star systems that are touching us more profoundly and are increasing every day are the energy from Sirius. And Sirius, as you know, is the brightest star in the sky. And what it does, it's bringing the energy of letting go. So to bring in this new world, to bring in this paradise that we all have the visions for, that we've had for lifetimes, first we have to let go. We have to let go of the old. We can't bring it into the new. Some of the people who talk about this new time say that Mother Earth, Gaia, is intelligent, is beautiful, is alive, and that as she comes into this new space, she can't bring anything that's old into it. So anything that we've held on to, anything that we're attached to, anything of the old way, we can't bring it in.